52828 and ask for our sales department.
You can count on us.
Save $1.30 on Purdue fresh chicken leg quarters, only $1.59 per pound. Fresh blueberries, just $4.49 each, saving you $3.50. Hellman's mayonnaise, hot price just $5.99 for a 30-ounce jar. Hot price on American flatbread pizza, only $7.99 for an 8.5-ounce package. Save $1.10 on Bob's Red Mill gluten-free oatmeal, only $1.79 for a 2.36-ounce package. Visit our website at www.marketplace.pm for more weekly specials.
You can count on us.
You're watching Bermuda Tonight. It's Thursday, January 3rd. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for joining us. An elderly patient dies after a fall at the King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, but the cause of death is yet to be determined. Not only that, but there are confirmed reports of a patient being assaulted by a BHB staffer. Gary Moreno has been looking into both matters.
It remains unclear just when the situation occurred, but sources at King Edward Memorial told us it happened recently at the hospital's extended care unit. Now, according to information we've received, the elderly patient was being attended to by a hospital worker who reportedly, quote, left the rails on the patient's bed down, unquote. That is said to have resulted in the patient falling out of the bed and subsequently dying. What is now in question, though, is whether the individual died as a result of injuries sustained in the fall, or was it because of a pre-existing condition? When contacted about the incident, a spokesperson for the Bermuda Hospital's board confirmed that a patient's death has been reported to the coroner to investigate the cause of death. Although a fall did occur, the coroner will determine whether it was relevant to the patient passing away. We cannot share any further information through the media, but the family will be fully apprised of all findings and the coroner's decision. Of course, a coroner's inquest is carried out in order to determine the cause as well as how, when, and where the death occurred. The Bermuda Hospital's board recently unveiled its quality improvement plan, which aims to raise the performance of BHP to become a safer, more effective and compassionate provider of care. One aspect of the initiative is the safety thermometer, which, according to the plan, enables you to, among other things, take a so-called temperature check on a daily basis through measuring common harms at the point of care. The objective here being to achieve by March of this year a 50% reduction in all measures of harm. These include pressure injuries, catheter infection, venous thromboembolism or VTE, which are blood clots that start in a vein, and of course, falls. Elsewhere, the BHP Patient Bill of Rights states your healthcare team will determine what preventive measures should be taken to try to prevent a fall while you are in the hospital and share this information with other staff. Meanwhile, we've also been informed of another situation where a BHP employee allegedly punched an elderly patient in the face. Asked about these claims, the BHP spokesperson told us, quote, Bermuda Hospital's board made a report of an incident between a staff member and patient in November to the Aging and Disability Services Department, as is BHP's statutory obligation under the Senior Abuse Register Act 2008. An internal investigation was also completed and the employee terminated. The spokesperson added, BHP deeply apologized to the CCU resident and his family, and we remain greatly saddened that this happened to someone under our care, and will do all that is necessary to safeguard the care and safety of our residents, unquote. Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Over 600 education officials took part in yesterday's training session on standards-based grading. During a press conference today, Minister of Education Diallo Urbane said there will be monthly meetings between the ministry and the Bermuda Union of Teachers on the progress of training and other outstanding matters. But there's still no word yet on whether parents can expect to see their children's report cards anytime soon. Standard-based grading has drawn the ire of teachers across the public school system. A tool designed to score a student's proficiency in any given subject was implemented in October 2015 under the OBA government. However, just last month, teachers took industrial action in protest of what they described as a lack of training on the new grading system, among other issues.
The training for this started back in October 2015, and it wasn't until May 2018 when we first met with the BUT, and they expressed that there were some issues there. We did sit with them and we came up with a plan moving forward to be ready for September. And it wasn't until we got to September that's when we had to really pull back and say, we probably need to go in a different direction.
A steering committee of teachers has been set up to plan how SBG is to be implemented, while the plan is expected to be made public later this month. But what about the costs associated with all-day training?
The training which took place yesterday, the costs we would have incurred were costs for the renting of the facility at Southampton Princess.
Do you have a price estimate on that?
I do not have the price for that available at this time.
The standard rental cost of the Ponciana Ballroom at Southampton Princess was quoted at $10,000. However, that is without any government discount. Prior to teachers staging stick-out action in December, Minister Rebane condemned the decision by teachers to stop inputting grades until proper training was provided.
We've been made much more aware of where the shortcomings of previous trainings that have been ongoing since 2015. The decision was made to reset the dial and start fresh, and which started with our training yesterday, and we will continue with that plan.
The minister said Commissioner Richards will begin talks this week with relevant officials to decide when grades and report cards can be rolled out for students. Mrs. Richards also confirmed there has been no resolution yet between the department and school principals over complaints of excessive workloads. That means the work to rule will remain in place as discussions continue.
I work for children. Decisions and actions taken are always in the best interest of children, and I will work with school leaders and teachers and the union and officers to ensure that our children get the best.
It has been agreed to have monthly meetings between the Department of Education and the BUT going forward, and monthly briefings to the public. Shannon James, president of the BUT, noting the minister's comments in a release tonight, saying he looks forward to working closely with the Ministry of Education in future, adding, quote, "In particular, I would like to thank the steering committee for their work in helping to find solutions to the issues we have highlighted." We'll have more for you after this short break, including all the latest weather news. Stay with us.
You can count on us.
Seedless navel oranges or Mineolas, only $1.29 each. Fresh assorted pork chops, just $3.49 per pound, saving $1.50. Hot price on old-time honey wheat bread, only $3.99 for a 20-ounce loaf. Save $2.50 on Huggies Pull-Up, just $14.99 for boys and girls, all sizes. Sensible portion veggie chips, only $2.99 for a 5-ounce tin. All stores open Monday through Saturday until 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
At Argos, our interest is you. Each of you. Around here, we know that when two people seem the same, they can have very different insurance needs. For their health, home, work, and future. Which is why we take the time to get to know you as an individual, so we can provide insurance coverage that fits your life. Because after all, our interest is you.
Well, 2019 has arrived, and with it, new considerations about our health, education, goals, and yes, about our money. January is here, and most are just receiving the bills for last month's holiday period. It's also time when some try to get their personal financial house in order. I turn to financial planner and newspaper columnist Martha Myron for some useful tips for the new year.
Martha Myron, thanks for chatting with us. A new year is upon us, and it's a time when most of us think about our money going into the new year. How important is it for us to maintain a personal budget?
Oh, it's really important. It's also really difficult for people to do. With everything else that's going on, trying to keep a job, trying to raise children, trying to meet transportation needs, trying to keep up your skills in the workplace, and just getting through the holidays, the next thing you get faced with is how to have a budget. And most people say, well, I'll try it. And then they tend to drop out after a couple of months. It's difficult. If you really want to keep a budget, you almost need some type of a spreadsheet. You've got to track all your costs. So typically what happens when I work with someone who's really trying to get control of their finances is to help them start with just a couple of things. Even trying to control that urge to splurge. You know, when you're having a bad day and you hit the ATM machine and you're going to buy yourself a little treat. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're trying to stick to a budget, it makes it harder.
Another thing many struggle with are needs versus wants. How does one recognize the difference between the two? Because I might say, for example, I really need an iPhone or to buy a boat for the summer.
Well, it's not a difficult question, but it comes down to we're human. We see something that's wonderful and we want it. We look at other things, we need them, because if we don't have them, we're not going to survive. I mean, we've got to meet rent, or we've got to make a mortgage, or we've got to get some food on the table. And they're not very satisfying. You're just sort of putting that money out there so that you can keep on going. And then
what about the cost of food? We all know it's very expensive in Bermuda to eat. Any advice on keeping the food bill low?
I think you can just use some common sense things. Again, it boils down to lifestyle. Everybody's working. But in reality, I think if you can just think of a few things when you shop. This is hard too, because we all like our chips and our Cheetos and a few other little good things like that, is if you can try to keep the cost of processed food, which tends to be more expensive, and what some people call non-food edible packages, which are things like chips and all of those other little goodies we love to watch and eat when we're in front of the TV. Soda's another big thing. We all got raised on, when I was a kid, it was called mineral. It's not called that anymore, but stick to water as opposed to soda. One of the other things I think helps build communities is to sit down and figure out what you can buy in bulk.
Thanks for that, Tarai. And we'll have more money advice from Martha for the new year in future broadcasts. And you can read her weekly money advice in the local press. At last check, the injured 30-year-old man said to be from Smiths Parish and believed to be the operator of the powerboat involved in the early morning New Year's Day crash that claimed the life of 24-year-old Adrian Hassel was recovering in stable condition in a general ward at the hospital after initially being treated in the intensive care unit. The investigation continues, and the investigating officer is renewing the appeal for anyone who may have seen or spoken to Mr. Hassel on the evening of December 31st, New Year's Eve, in particular at Doghouse or Pickled Onion on Front Street, as well as anyone who may have seen or spoken to the friends he was with that night. Anyone with relevant information is asked to please call Acting Sergeant Mark Proctor on 717-2077 or make contact via email at mproctor@bps.bm. Weather now, and let's head over to the AccuWeather headquarters for the latest.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
This AccuWeather forecast here on ZBM is brought to us by our friends at the BF&M Insurance Group, and we have a little bit of an unsettled weather pattern here for the next 2 to 3 days as a front is kind of dancing around our area. It is going to produce some scattered showers, and eventually a more legitimate cold front with a little bit of gusto will push through in the middle of the weekend with improvements to follow. So you can see just a broad area with some somewhat disorganized rain showers is out there. It's breezy as well. Temperatures are near 70 degrees. We're a little milder than average. Humidity is up 80 to 85%. The winds are active west-southwest at 20 knots, and we have a water temperature at 68. Now, on the inside, waves have become a little bit more agitated at 2 to 3 feet. On the outside, we have 5 to 8 foot waves churning away. And we have small craft warning that continues through tonight in through Friday morning. Then it will end, and then a new small craft warning will begin on Friday night, fairly late Friday night. So high tide is 6:50 this evening. Low tide will be, the tide's going out all evening until around 12:40 a.m. Another high tide at 7:17 in the morning, and then a low tide at 2:02. By the way, there is a meteor shower out there, but unfortunately, we don't have ideal viewing conditions with this cloud cover in the area. Now, if you find any breaks between the clouds, it may be worth a look, especially if you're out late tonight into the early morning hours. But again, there will be cloud cover and some spotty showers here and there, and that for most of us will prohibit the view of the meteor shower. Here we go into Thursday night. That's tonight into early Friday as we get our bearings straight here. This abbreviated work week, it's always hard to keep tabs on exactly what day it is unless you're really on top of things. Spotty showers with the front stalling nearby. Then the front begins to lift north temporarily Friday night, but look to the west. This next front is going to come on through with gusto Saturday night, and that'll bring a more legitimate round of showers in the middle of the weekend, mainly Saturday night. Current conditions down into the Caribbean, a great day in Jamaica and Barbados. We're still dealing with some breezy trade winds, producing some scattered showers into Trinidad and Tobago. No tropical threats in the Atlantic Basin as we are in the hurricane off-season, with the cooler water keeping us out of trouble. Also more wind shear this time of the year, keeping us out of trouble. That's what keeps the hurricanes away. We have sunshine into Toronto, a little chilly there, but not terribly cold. 47 into New York on Friday. Rain returns late Friday night there. Boston, 48 degrees. Atlanta's turning wet with widespread rain in the area again this Friday. Miami looks warm and nice, 84 there. London on the cold side at 39 degrees. Extended forecast. Again, we have some unsettled weather. Scattered showers tonight, spotty showers into Friday. And then there's an increase in the likelihood of rain Saturday evening, Saturday night, and into early Sunday. And then that front pushes away, and we'll see some nice improvements with cooler weather returning Monday and Tuesday. So it's a bit of a cloud fest for the meteor shower tonight. We'll send it back to you.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
From the very beginning, it was always our singular focus to do whatever it takes, use every possible resource to fight cancer, and never lose sight of the patients we're fighting for. Our cancer treatment specialists share the same vision. Experts from all over the world working closely together to deliver truly personalized cancer care. And these are the specialists we're proud to call our own. Expert medicine works here. Learn more at cancercenter.com. Appointments available now.
Going back to our top story, police say we can confirm that the police are investigating the death of a 74-year-old female at King Edward Memorial Hospital on December 26, 2018. The investigation is under the purview of the coroner, and a report will be issued to the coroner upon completion. As the investigation is ongoing, it would be inappropriate to comment further at this time, end quote. Well, the rollout of the new winter bus schedule has been postponed by 2 weeks to allow the public and stakeholders more time to adjust to the changes. The Department of Public Transportation making the announcement today that the new winter 2019 bus schedule will begin on January 21st. However, administrative work for the schedule has already been finalized. DPT Director Roger Todd said the dissemination of information for the public is key to this process. And the Bermuda Industrial Union President Chris Ferbert says he's on board with the decision.
I did receive a telephone call from the director asking if he can have a meeting today at 1 o'clock. So Brother Graham, who's filling in for Brother George, who's on vacation, himself, along with Brother Cal, the president, Brother Bo, the secretary, and Brother Patrick Haver, a member of the committee, met with Mr. Todd this afternoon. And what he wanted to talk about was the date of January 7th and how, basically, because of the Christmas holiday and a number of other things, they need to properly inform the public about the changes. And they thought that the 7th of January date needs to be pushed back to the 21st. So we certainly agree with that because we believe that proper communication to the public needs to happen in order for them to know exactly what's happening with the new schedule.
Do you believe that the changes to the schedules are quite drastic?
I do know that some of our members are very concerned about some of these changes, but as I said to them in the meeting, this is a kind of like an interim schedule, if you want to call it that. We're doing a memorandum of understanding for the next 12 to 18 months with the understanding that the perusal committee that's elected by the members, along with the management team, are going to come up with full rosters that they're going to be using after this 18-month period. But so hopefully between now and that period, we'll come up with something that's workable, that the workers would totally be in support of.
There will be media announcements across radio, print, and online platforms starting Monday. A hard copy of schedule brochures will be made available at the Hamilton bus station, and a printable version will be available online at www.gov.bm. Still to come, Earl Basin will have all the latest sports news in just a few minutes.
Hey Smokey, let's get lunch from the Marketplace food court.
You know what? That sounds good.
They have oxtails, pumpkin, curried lamb, lemon chicken, sweet and sour ribs, vegetable stir fry, and the variety goes on.
Their chefs are good. They'll set you right up with all the good carbons.
And don't forget the special dishes from the island.
It don't matter. No matter what you feel like eating, Marketplace will have it.
You know, it's quick, it's quality, and at prices you can count on.
Visit us 7 days a week. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Made for you daily at the Hamilton Marketplace Food Court.
Getting ready for Christmas is all about the finishing touches.
The icing on the cake. The table neatly set. Decorations specially placed. And gifts thoughtfully wrapped. All to share with those we love. In special moments as simple as this.
Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
Colonial, where people come first.
Sport now, and a young tennis player advances. Bermudian goalkeeper watches West Ham United draw, and a look back at interviews in 2018 continues. Earl Basin has the details and much more in tonight's Sports Report.
Trey Mallory recently competed in the main draw of the Eddie Herr International Junior Tennis Tournament. Mallory competed in the boys' 16 singles main draw. He took on Mark Laja from Estonia and defeated him in straight sets 6-3, 6-1. A quick-fire double from Nathan Trott's teammates Marko Arnautovic ensured West Ham United took a share of the spoils in a 2-2 draw last evening with Brighton Hove Albion. Several Bermuda cyclists competed in the RAF Festival 500 Challenge. The goal was to ride 500 kilometers between Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Leading the way for Bermuda was Connor White with over 1,000 kilometers ridden in the 8 days from Christmas Eve through to New Year's Eve. In their second game of the 7th annual Lady Colonials Holiday Basketball Tournament, at Plymouth Whitemarsh High School Gym West, Kalen Peters and his Plymouth Whitemarsh teammates went down by 7 points to Bona and Pendergrass 64-57. Peters would score 12 points for Plymouth Whitemarsh. We continue to look back at interviews in 2018. We start today with legendary Usain Bolt, who took us back to his performance on the National Sports Center track in 2004.
For me, it was just a career after games, you know what I mean? I came here prepared as always to come and do my best for my country. I came out here, I was feeling good. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to run as hard as possible as always, because back in the days, it was who can get the most medals, who can break the records for us Jamaicans. So for me, I just came out here and just ran my hardest, and I got the record, and I was happy about that.
Gavin Manders talked about where he's at in his life in tennis.
It's just great to be able to use my knowledge and know that it's really being used to its fullest. I don't really get to coach a lot of high performance here. We really don't have a lot of that. And even our what we call our high performance is still developmental into high performance. So, it opened my eyes a little bit, because I'm still at an age where I could go anywhere in the world and coach, and that showed me that. And if things keep going how they're going here, maybe it's time for me to go and actually go to places and start to use my knowledge and my expertise in areas in that high performance where people appreciate it,
Kyron Waldron gives up his secret on helping his record-breaking harness pony go fast this season.
Well, you really just want to keep him happy, to be honest. Just whatever you want to do, you keep him happy. So, right. Look good, feel good, run good, right?
Okay.
So that's just keep the same program. It don't make sense changing something if it's working out. Right. Just hopefully you get a good draw and see what happens. Honestly, it's just I love racing. Like, I have to love the animal too. Like every time you sit down, there's a feeling that no one could ever get, or I could explain to anybody. You know, like nothing matters when I hit that track.
So you're basically focused from the time you arrive to the time you finish.
I don't hear anything around me.
Arancha King felt cheated by drug users during the 2012 Olympic Games women's long jump.
I think, you know, a lot of people, this is a sensitive topic because people have personal experience of being deprived of championships, medal, and really successes that they cannot go back in time and regain. So I understand that there are a lot of different opinions. My personal belief is that, yeah, I do feel cheated of experiences, and I think the London Olympic final is a perfect example where I was tied for the last spot in the final. They did a count back, lost by like a toenail, and then that night I was sitting in the village, you know, sad, depressed that like my dreams had ended. And this girl who I tied with did not even show up to the final because she had already had a positive drug test. You know, it's unclear they said it happened that night, but I think realistically they probably knew. Someone knew about this. So she didn't show up, essentially taking my my final spot. So that was really hard for me.
Deborah Whaley spoke about NFL draft options.
It's pretty tough, you know, just... You know, nowadays it's all about politics and hype. So, you know, and sometimes you have to live up to it. You know, sometimes, you know, some people do, sometimes some people don't. So, you know, like I said, you just have to go in there with that mindset, you know, just doing what you can do. Take one day at a time, take one play at a time, and, you know, everything will fall into place.
I'm Earl Basden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
When it's happening now, you can't beat the immediacy of radio.
Chance to hear the thoughts of acclaimed author.
No matter where you are.
I'm Darlene Livingston with Bermuda Broadcasting News.
When events are spectacular, television is by far the best media platform.
Why now, this particular topic?
For sports action, well, need we say more? Broadcast reporters put elected officials on the spot, keeping them honest and accountable to voters. And they can explain things in ways we all understand.
Climbs up to 12.5%.
Broadcast news is important. We're your eyes and ears on the ground. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for joining us tonight. In good times and bad. Radio's your constant companion.
On the big station, Power 95.
And TV news is the news.
Based on what you're seeing.
And Bermuda Broadcasting is your station.
We are the voices.
You are with the captain.
It's Mr. Midday.
12 new major news.
The big station.
The morning show.
Your number one song.
The Faces.
You're watching Bermuda Tonight.
This is exactly what you're talking about.
What an upset it was.
The Storytellers.
They are actually using the pepper spray. Police are aware of this theory.
The water is 3,500 meters deep.
The tax climbs up to 12.5%.
The window on our community.
We bring you the best in U.S. television entertainment.
And the greatest sporting events in the world.
A brilliant performance from Duffy.
We are the island's only Bermudian-owned broadcaster of both television and radio.
With the only TV channels that are available over the air in beautiful high definition, completely free.
We are always expanding.
We are always innovating.
And most important, we're always your station.
This is Bermuda Broadcasting. And a brief recap of tonight's stories before we leave you tonight. An elderly patient dies after a fall at the King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, but the cause of death is yet to be determined. Not only that, but there are confirmed reports of a patient being assaulted by a BHP staffer, and that staff member was in fact fired. Well, meanwhile, police confirmed they are investigating the death of a 74-year-old female at the hospital on December 26, 2018. The investigation is under the purview of the coroner, and a report will be issued to the coroner upon completion. And over 600 education officials took part in yesterday's training session on standards-based grading. During a press conference today, Minister of Education Diallo Bain said there will be monthly meetings between the ministry and the Bermuda Union of Teachers on the progress of training and other outstanding matters. But there's still no word yet on when parents can expect to see their children's report cards. And that's all we have for you this evening. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time. We hope to see you then. I'm Jasmine Patterson. Have a great night.
Jasmine Patterson's wardrobe and makeup is provided by Gibbons Company.